Oh man.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right.
Let's go. We cruising, huh?
Should we take off
It's
like
good
bandits?
to see y'all. Yeah.
Come
They just did our street.
on.
Whoa, I guess you were.
Uh-oh. Phone's missing.
I should turn it off, right? What's going on, man?
Well, this is episode number 4.
4?
Yeah.
I missed one.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay.
So be on the lookout. It should be out Tuesday morning. Yeah.
Beautiful.
You've been cooped up.
Well,
No pun intended.
yeah. Yes and no, man. Yes and no. Yes and no. Actually, when this first hit, we were in Puerto Rico. So our last 3 days in Puerto Rico, we were on lockdown. And actually, in Puerto Rico, they shut the island down right away, like
Wow.
fast. And so they have a little bit of cases down there, but not so much. Like the last 3 days we were there, we could only go to the supermarket and back, but they also had a curfew. 7 o'clock, everybody's off the streets. So that worked out pretty good. And actually, right now, you can only drive according to your license plate, like every other day. Evens one day, odds the other. So they handled it pretty good, but
Okay.
when we came back to Baltimore, it was a little bit looser until that mandatory quarantine.
Yeah.
So we're good. Actually, it's been good. It's been good to have quiet, peaceful time with God.
Yeah.
A lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of phone calling, things of that nature. Getting things done, getting work done.
Yes.
It's hard to. It's funny because especially, I bet you a lot of guys in ministry find this. You're trying to serve God, do things for God. Come home, you have all the details of life. You got to work, you got to make money, you got to eat, you got to take care of your kids. So anyway, it's been good to be quiet. It's been good to be quiet.
Yes.
I think it's important.
Sure is.
But there's still a lot of people on the road. You know where you are?
Yes. Frank's Pizza.
That's right. Frank's Pizza is the best place, man. Frank's Pizza is the best place. You know they're from New York?
Pastor Steve would disagree.
What does he say?
Pizza John's. Pizza John's.
Oh, man. I don't even know where that is.
Essex. Okay.
Essex? You know what, Frank's, that's because he didn't grow up in New York. He grew up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So I'll give him that. Just like Pastor Love, my buddy from Boston, always in New York, going to this John's Pizza place. Right? It was $45 for a slice of brick oven pizza. And he calls it original New York pizza, but it's not.
It's not.
Frank's has original New York pizza. Nice, thin.
Well, he's got the Italian. Original Italian pizza.
Exactly. Fresh sauce.
Yes.
Fresh cheese.
Fresh everything.
Nice, thin. You can fold it with your hands, and the cheese starts to slide. That's when it's original. Original New York. So where's your blue gloves and your mask?
I'm not quite there yet. I'm part of the resistance.
Are you really?
Not really.
Now when we go to the grocery store, we put on our masks, put on our gloves, and try to stay back from people.
Yes.
But I've really been trying to stay in the house as much as I can. Trying to do my part.
got you from the side.
So what's that, an ugly thing? An ugly alert?
Ugly alert. I don't know what's up with this.
So if you're not pretty, it just cuts off.
Yeah, if it detects somebody it doesn't like. Ask you a question.
You can ask me anything you want.
All right.
I am an open book.
Okay.
You're gonna edit this, right? Psych. Man. Yes.
One
yes.
time you talked about what it was like for you to get married to a white woman and to raise white kids. And you were like about to tell us about that, and we were like, man, if we could capture that, that'd be awesome. But I think that would take maybe too long.
Man, that's wow.
So here's a question about this,
Okay.
this time of the coronavirus.
Okay. I'm Pastor Cooper. I'm married to a white woman. Hey, nah, you know what, man? You know what? So I'm married to a lady who loves God and who won my heart with her life, her passion for Christ. It wasn't about race. It wasn't, well, okay. I was raised in New York City.
Yep.
New York City's a melting pot, a racial melting pot. Yes, there are prejudices and divided lines, but my biggest, I would say one of my biggest culture shocks, well, when I went to Bible school in Lenox, Massachusetts, up in the Berkshires. Man, I was literally, there may have been two other brothers. No, one brother and two sisters. Well, that means that for the studio audience, that means one black man and two black women in the Bible college. And it was New England. So it was like, we're in the mountains, we're in the boonies. And I was like, wow, where are the black people? And it wasn't like when I grew up in in the projects. There, you got your Puerto Ricans, you got your white people over there.
Yep.
Everybody. Jersey is kind of like certain parts of Jersey are people that moved out of the projects in New York and bought a house. Right. So you still had the same thing, and you had really all your races living in middle class, upper class neighborhoods. Having opportunities. So moving outside of the New York metropolitan area, the country seems to be more segregated. Mm-hmm. So I had to get used to that when I went to Bible school. I had to get used to that when I went to Springfield. After Bible school, I went to Springfield for 15 years, and then back to Jersey for 2 years, and then down to Baltimore in '96. And Baltimore is a city that you could say is pretty well racially divided, especially among the churches, which was a big surprise to me. Like I think we have a stellar Bible school, and I would love it if we could see more ethnic groups or minority groups outside of internationals coming to Bible school to be trained to penetrate our ethnic communities.
Like right here.
Yeah, because every town, every city has some sort or some percentage of diversity, and like our Spanish-speaking brothers and sisters, it's really important for a person to hear the gospel in their own language, and spend the time in Puerto Rico. You just realize that the Spanish language is very expressive. Mm-hmm. It's very passionate, very expressive. So certain things we may say in English, like, I love you, Sebastian, might be like in Spanish, Sebastian, I have much love for you, my brother. In the depths of my soul, there's love. But honestly, like other cultures aren't, they're expressive. Like you've been to Africa, people don't put up walls like they do here. Mm-hmm. So you asked me about marrying a white woman, I just went this way. I got right off of that subject. You know that?
How you went with it.
But really, it has everything to do with what I'm saying because number one, I grew up watching my father. My father was the first African American in the country promoted to the position of postal inspector in the post office. He worked for the post office, which is like the federal police for the post office. And back then there was a whole lot more going on, letter bombs and all that kind of stuff. Maybe more than today, but my parents raised us to love everybody. So I didn't grow up having a problem with race. Surprised when people had a problem with me because of the color of my skin.
Right.
But so anyway, when I met my wife in 1984, and she was my secretary assigned to me in Bible school when I had a bus route doing bus ministry in Holyoke. And here's a funny thing. It's like when you're dealing with a whole bunch of people doing outreach, and you have people with the clipboards, you got people doing their assignments and picking up the kids and bringing them to their programs. But then was Nikki, who I was always very passionate about people. So after the program's over, I'm going to visit people. I'm going to see how they're doing. I want to invest in them, because that's the thing that brought me to the dance. There was a lot of investment, a lot of love investment, and it was personal. It wasn't instruction. It was personal. So Nikki, she was right on board. Everybody else went back to the campus, but Nikki would stay, and she would even stay with Pastor Chet overnight, so that she could do team ministry with me the next night. And at that time now we look back and say, you know what, back then I liked you, girl, But it was like, this is, we're doing the Lord's thing, so I wasn't occupied with that. I wasn't like, distracted by her or anything. I was impressed by her passion and love for God. Because I really, what's really big for me, and here's the cool thing about the virus right now, right? Mm-hmm. It's like everybody's on lockdown, so people aren't gathering together. Well, should that really make a big difference in how we relate to each other? Like, do we relate to each other just because, hey, we see each other in church and, hi, buddy, how you doing? God bless you, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Or do we really care and love for each other? Mm-hmm. That's like our relationship with God, right? Mm-hmm. We're celebrating Easter. And, I'm thinking a lot of things are happening by Zoom now, little video messages and video texts and stuff like that. And what's really been on my heart, and I'm sending it to these guys, is like, okay, we're dealing with Easter. What's Easter about? Easter's about the resurrection of Christ. Okay? Death first. This is Good Friday, right?
Yep. Jesus
dies today. Okay? The most intense suffering that any human being can ever go through happened on this day many years ago, for the sole purpose of us having complete access to all of who He is and all of who the Father is, all of who Christ is, all of who God is, all of heaven. We are joint heirs with Christ, the Bible tells us. Co-heirs, joint heirs. Not sub-heirs, co-heirs. We are His children, given a spirit of adoption whereby we can cry daddy, just like Jesus did, right? And when Jesus taught us how to pray, He says, what's the first thing He says? Our Father. Mm-hmm. Not, okay, listen, here's Jesus, right? Here's us today, right? If I was Jesus, I'd be like, hey, listen, when you pray to my dad, okay, first, and some churches do this, this. Like, well, first talk to me and I'll see if he's busy, right? Now it's like, our Father. Our Father. So, this is a powerful season, and Easter is not just Sunday. For me, Easter is every day of my life. Every day of my life, I want to live in the fullness of what resurrection life means. Do I deserve salvation? No. Could I have earned it on my own? No. No way. But yet, God gave it to me.
Yeah.
He died for me. And anything that can hinder us from experiencing the fullness of who Christ is was paid for on that cross. So my wife lives like that. She's not hindered when it comes to, and that resurrection life to me means like, okay, everything we said about growing up in New York and going to a different area, all that's dead. Like the reason why this city is segregated and this city is not, like the reason for segregation is dead. All that stuff should be dead at the cross if you believe in Christ. So, when you come to a city like Baltimore, and I've worked with a lot of these churches here in Baltimore, some are great, some are wonderful, some have that wall. Well, we can, your pastor's white, you could do a little bit, but, it's like, that's not fellowship, that's not a true relationship. So anyway, all that stuff, when you live in resurrection life, it supersedes all the prejudicial crap and any other kind of stuff, because it's kind of funny. Like my kids, and by the way, that's not my first set of kids. Did you know that?
Yes.
Right, I've raised 3 daughters.
Yes.
My first marriage, and we got married. Actually, next year will be our 20th anniversary, and I've raised 4 children, as you call them, white kids. And it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It's like, it's like, hey, I'm a stepfather, so my job wasn't to try to replace their father. My job was to just lead them in life and point them to the truth and help them to go through all the adjustments that they had to make because they, their father wasn't in their life by his choice.
That takes a lot of creativity.
It takes a lot of wisdom. Yes, creativity and wisdom.
Yes.
Creativity and wisdom.
Yeah. I feel like this is a time when we have to be creative also.
Yeah.
This very time, because we're limited, but our hands are not tied in a way. We can find ways to be creative, to do things outside the box, to think outside the box, and to reach out in ways we haven't reached out.
Hey, if you really love somebody, they'll hear from you. And you got to think of it. Okay, I have to think of it myself. Like, okay, is my walk with Christ hindered because I can't go to the building? We have online services, which is, obviously it's not the same as being face to face, and the body of Christ is so important. It's very important, but we have the ability to communicate with each other. And, that's kind of been my experience in Puerto Rico because of my commitment in New York with Pastor Love and the Nixonet. 6 months out of the year, I can only travel to Puerto Rico once a month. So therefore, we haven't planted a typical mission church down there where I'm pastoring from a pulpit. But I've been told by the folks down there that has caused them to trust me more than if I moved down there and planted my own church, because I keep coming back. Because even though I have to go back, I still reach out. They still hear from me. And it's not based on whether or not I'm in this building and I'm trying to get them to gather to my little place and hear me preach a message. So that is actually won more people, and I got to tell you, it's like I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying it. But dealing with people, raising kids, it's really the same principle. Like, You know, he that wins souls is wise. What does that mean? Like, he that wins souls. What is winning a soul? Winning a soul is not getting somebody to say a prayer.
Right.
Winning a soul is like, or true discipleship is not just calling somebody up and giving them a couple verses and checking off their name off a list. But it's like, I've always said, if a person can't grow and end up walking on their own because they've gained confidence and strength in their relationship with God, then I'm not truly discipling them. If they need me, and of course there are people that maybe, you know, I'll say genetically weaker or whatever the case may be. All different. I'm not talking about, you know, people that just naturally struggle, but even the weakest person in the body can grow and learn to reach out and trust God on their own, because a person is not going to go to heaven or have a good relationship with Christ because of somebody else's faith. You know, that has to be genuine within our own heart.
Which is good, because right now that's being tested.
Yeah.
Because you're by yourself a lot.
Yep. I've been having a lot of fun, man. I've been sorting through my old. That's why I called you, asked you about the MP, the how to get the tapes to the MP thing, because I'm going through all my old. I have so many old videos. I got footage of New York Blitzes in 2003, 2004, all the outreaches. I'm trying to find some footage of Flow and stuff.
Yes.
And all these things that I've gotten. Every day I've been just putting on an old classic Pastor Stevens video, and just really just taking it all in, you know. And it's funny because now, like I was telling my wife, now we're not going anywhere. Like, we have time to watch a message before we go out today, or before we run and hit the road. You know, so it's been great.
How have you been scheduling your day a little bit?
Honestly, honeydew.
Good time for that.
Yeah. Honestly, I get up, and my first part of my day, I spend reading and writing and phone calling, and that bleeds into the rest of the day. But the second part, you know, we raised 5 kids in our house. Now they're all gone. We're empty nesters. So it took me a while to get out because I had to get dressed, because, you know. But anyway, so now the house projects, we're trying to redo our house and get it up to, you know, do a lot of projects around the house, rebuilding the porch, all kinds of things. So now I have time to do it. Because of this break.
Thank God for that.
Yes, sir.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
This is you right here?
This is me. That's the bad side of the house. We got the good side of the house.
Should we drive around? Just kidding. Well, it's been a pleasure, Pastor Coop.
Hey, always a pleasure with you guys. All right?
Thank you for giving us this time.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right.
I get a check, right?
Yes. In the mail. We'll send it.
Oh, it's in the mail. Okay. Yo, man. Oh, you know what? You know what me and Seb can do that you can't do? Go home to our wives.
Oh.
But yours is coming, baby. It's coming anew. It'll be a new day for you every day.